Episode 5, you already know what time it is. We're about to get into this review. Before we do anything, before we watch, like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and start doing that right now. Go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe, turn that post notifications on. And let's go. So we get back into the episode, and the episode picks up from Natalie and Christina up in each other's faces, acting as though they're gonna fight, but we knew they weren't gonna fight. And then security pops out, and it gets to the point, I guess they're so sick of them doing this. Security and the producers come out, and you see the producer, the main producer, Lemmy. He's out, and he's like, yo, y'all gotta cut this out. Like, have a conversation, get the conversation done. We can't have y'all fighting up in each other's faces every single time you're standing there next to each other. And they're both sitting there screaming, cussing each other out, talking about how they're gonna beat each other's asses and yada, yada, yada. Just stupid shit. And just watching it, I'm just watching it now, and I'm just looking at it like, okay. I'm trying to give the show even more of a chance. It should seem like it's authentic. But as I'm watching this scene, and they kind of go to a point where they're both, like I said, they're screaming at each other and talking like they're going to beat each other's asses. And then they go to kind of calm it down in a way, because Natalie was in her confessional saying she's lucky the producer, and when she said she's saying Christina's saying that Christina's lucky that the producers got there, because if they didn't get there, she'd have whooped her ass again. And I'm like, Natalie, you was just in her face. You was going to whoop her ass, you would have whooped her ass, because y'all was right here before security got there, and nobody swung. But they're doing all that stuff, and then Natalie's in the confessional basically saying, like, I'll give her a chance to say what she got to say, and I'll hear her out. And Christina says the same thing, but they said the same thing in front of the production, in front of the producers in the production. And Christina basically is sitting there acting as though she's gonna go and talk to Natalie and have a conversation, and then she just starts swinging and just looking stupid, because it's like, why are y'all doing this? Like, what is the point? And you can tell they're just fighting just to be fighting at this point. But after all of that, Christina claimed that she was running. That's the thing that killed me too. Christina claimed in her confessional that she was running to swing on Natalie, but she wasn't running. Y'all was literally right there, and you just swung. And you didn't do much of nothing, but both of them are saying they're no longer trying to beef. They just want to have a conversation, get it together so they can move forward. And then this is when Christina says to Natalie, like, the reason why I felt the way I felt is because me and you were sisters. I felt like you were my sister, like before this, before we even started production. We had a cool relationship, and I felt like me getting my makeup done was nothing that big of a deal, and I felt like I could have come to you and could have asked you and could have basically said, okay, well, let me get my makeup done as well, because as Natalie said, she's an executive producer and Christina is a producer on the show. So they came to that agreement that they both have been working together to get this project together, and they just basically came to an agreement that they're going to be cool and want to move forward. They hug it out. It didn't seem genuine. I don't really know at this point. But they hugged it out, they walked away, and we're going to see what else is about to happen. So the next scene, we got a filler scene where, and it's like, I was about to say it's the next day, but it's not even the next day. It's the way this stuff is edited, you get confused on even what days they're on, if it's even the same day. But then now that I thought about it, like, we were still on the beginning of the day, because Christina was still wearing those clothes when she was talking to Seven and Janelle, who were wrapped up in blankets. Clearly they just woke up. But Sarah then meets with Natalie, who's now got caked up makeup all over her face. And basically Natalie's kind of giving her a rundown of where they're at now with Christina and where's the drama at. So she tells Sarah that her and Christina are cool, or at least cool now, to where they can coexist and yada yada. But you know how Sarah is when it comes to being friends with Natalie. She kind of showed her hand here too. She showed, like, you're a lapdog. Like, you're desperate to be her friend, that you're literally gonna fight all her battles for her. You're gonna, if she doesn't like somebody, you're not gonna like them. Natalie doesn't need you to fight her battles, but you're gonna fight her battles just to validate her own opinion, which I think all three of those are just recipes for just ignorance. I hate people like that. If you have a relationship, I mean, considering Christina and Sarah clearly don't have that much of a good rapport. But if my friend don't like somebody, if that person is not doing anything to me, hasn't done anything to me, I don't have a reason to really be going after you. Unless you're doing something in my face and I see that you're doing something wrong, then I'll call you out on it. But as Sarah was going down the line and basically saying, okay, well, you're now friends with Christina, you're now friends with, and she's saying best friends. You can tell she's very, very irritated with the fact that Natalie is now back to being cool with Christina and back to being cool with Tanisha. And I feel like she feels like those two being friends with Natalie is going to take Natalie away from her. Which is so stupid. Like, why are you so... But I feel like she's doing that, and I feel like she's so bothered by it because Natalie is an executive producer, and you know how she loves to talk about how Natalie and Tanisha are the executive producers, and she's just a regular producer. That's where Sarah's got to grow up. She's the oldest one on the cast, and she acts very much like the youngest, but... Nope, I'm not going to say that. Second youngest. Sydney's the one that acts the youngest, but... Yeah. They just basically start talking about now we're on the same page, now we can move forward and start doing what we're here for. And I'm like, okay, so what is that? But then Natalie says they're about to have a board meeting where they get all the girls together and pretty much discuss what they're going to do and what their purpose is for being here. I'm glad they're going to have this scene because we're episode 4 and I still don't understand what the purpose of this show is. Like, I understand they're bad girls and they're coming back and there very well is going to be fights. But what is the purpose for this show? I don't know. And I'm very excited to see what it is. So the next scene that we get is 7. Thank God for some more 7. We need more 7 on the show. And Sydney. So they're in 7's bathroom. Sydney walks in and she's stating how her and 7 have gotten closer. And I'm going to say this. And as she stated on the show, she says she's tried every single other girl in the house besides 7. And I told you she was going to try every girl but 7 because she knows 7 is not the one to play with. And 7 is, and it's funny because 7 is the chillest one on the show. She's not one that's going to start the drama. She's not one that's going to be entertaining it, per se. So she's not going to be yelling. She's not going to be screaming. She's not going to be picking and prodding for just things to happen. She's just the type that's going to fight. Like, you come to her with some mess, she's going to swing. And Sydney knows that. So Sydney knows who to pick them battles with. Like I said, she picks certain people to mess with because she feels like they might be an easier person and an easier target to get what she wants to get done, which is her bad girls and antics on the show. So they're sitting there talking about that, and 7's like, well, I mean, you tried Tanisha. You don't think Tanisha could beat you up? And then Sydney's like, yeah, she can. I feel like she can, but she basically is trying to get to know 7 more and be closer to 7. So then they just start talking about how Natalie has sent them a group text basically talking about how they're going to have a board meeting to discuss what they're going to be doing with the show. Sydney then brings up her idea of what she thinks that they should do, which is to start a sex toy line. Because and this is verbatim what Sydney said. Sydney said she feels like they should do it because they are sex symbols. They're looked at as sex symbols. I wouldn't even say that. 7 is the only one out of this cast that she's easily the baddest one on the show. She's the girl on this cast that I would go for, absolutely. She's the girl that every other dude in the world would go for. Even women would go for 7. 7's just beautiful. And then her personality, and then the fact that she can fight, she's just got it all wrapped into one. But I don't even look at her as a sex symbol. I just look at her as somebody that you would wife up. Like, she's not somebody that you would just be out here just trying to get one on and then keep it moving. Like, she's a wife. She's wifey material. But let Sydney tell you, Sydney says that they are sex symbols, so that's what they're going to run with. So her and 7 are bouncing ideas off of each other what to do, and then you know how Sydney likes to talk about how she likes to blah, 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 and I'm not going to say it because I really don't care to talk about it, but she starts to talk about that, and 7's like, well, you say it all the time. And that is what she does. Like, you see anything Sydney Star on social media, on the show, period. Like, she done said it probably 5 times already in the past 4 episodes. Then they're sitting in the house, and then they're sitting in there talking about how the house is dirty. And as they're talking about the house is dirty, 7 is basically looking at the floor, and there's a roach on the floor. And then just looking at the house itself, have y'all noticed the house looks extremely empty? It's a mansion, but there's nothing in the house. It's like y'all have all this money and all this production, but y'all can't even make the house look nice, and then let alone have the house looking nice. Y'all don't have any kind of activities, like, and it makes you see like certain things need to be, producers and production companies do need to up their game when it comes to these. I'm happy about this Black network. having black people on the show and they're producing their own shows and stuff, but let's produce some quality stuff. Like, what are y'all doing? We're on episode 4 and we haven't gotten any kind of inclination of what the show really is supposed to be about. And we still ain't got it yet. Judy's my girl. Judy is speaking facts in this scene. So we get the scene where they're finally meeting up together and they're all in this room that they're calling the boardroom. And they're having this boardroom meeting. They all walk in individually. Natalie and Tanisha are the two sitting there already because they're the EPs, they're the heads of the meeting, so they're gonna regulate how the meeting goes. They're gonna introduce their ideas to give to the girls and give them what they're thinking and get their input. But they all sit down, and when they sit down, Natalie and Tanisha are basically trying to start the meeting, and Sydney's sitting there with a drink. They're basically trying to look professional, and Natalie's basically getting pissed off with the fact that she got that drink. And she told her to put that drink down and basically disperse of it because you're in a meeting. Let's have a professional meeting. Which I understand wanting that, but you're on a reality show and you got Sydney starring there. Like, that's not going to mix. But they sit down and they start talking about where they're going to take the show and what's the reason for being there. And they want to start businesses. So with that, Natalie is saying they want to expand the brand and bring something together. And when she's saying the brand, I'm like, okay, so what brand are you talking about? The Bad Girl brand or what? Because that wasn't even specified. But her and Tanisha first bring up, they want the girls to become fit and look the part of the brand. So they want to do a boot camp. So I'm like, okay, so what are y'all selling? Like, what is the reason for the boot camp? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And Tanisha automatically, this is like a cue for her to use her fat jokes. So she starts talking to Natalie like, I'm sick of you trying to control my stomachs. You control your stomach and control your stomach only. And I feel like if she wasn't the queen of the fat jokes and doing that stuff all the time, it probably would have landed, but it didn't land. But the funny thing is, this is where Judy, when I say Judy's my girl, Judy was speaking facts. She said, like, these girls are on OnlyFans and are out here basically selling their bodies for money. And Judy said, I don't want that. I don't want no parts in that because everybody else is doing that. And Judy's like, I'm basically ready to go home at this point because, like, I thought we was going to be doing something different. And then Tanisha starts to say that they're going to do a talent show. She wants to see what the girls are, like, what the girls have, and she wants to show them in a different light. And I understand wanting to show them in a different light. I like that idea, but a talent show, like Judy said, that's been done already. And then I'm sitting there thinking, these girls, I don't think any of them have any talent. I mean, I know Christina can sing a little bit, and Judy can rap to a certain extent, but like, what are their real talents? Like, but then again, I mean, I guess we can ask that question and we can see, giving them the opportunity, so maybe they can put something together and we can see what's going on. But Judy was like, we might as well just make this the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm like, that's right. But I feel like they could have took this show in a different direction. I think they could have kept the cast the way it is and do like what Judy's saying, or basically have them filming where they live. And then they can just go on trips together like on these housewives shows where they live their lives, even though they live in the same city, but these girls don't live in the same city. But they can do like stuff like that and film that stuff, and when they come together, then they come together, go on trips and stuff, and then that's when the drama happens and whatnot. It probably would have come off a lot better. And Judy was dead on with that, and I think that is definitely a route they should have taken the show. But Sarah is annoying as shit, man. Like, she gets on my nerves. It's just like little stuff, like you can tell she is such a hater. She hates the fact that she is not an executive producer on this show. They start talking about how they're gonna get a therapist in, and they're basically asking the girls like what are their talents are and what they think about the talent show. And Sarah's talking about how she wants Ray J to host the show, and then they're basically calling her messy because, as you know, Ray J, I don't know if Ray J's still married, but I think he is, but I mean, who knows? I guess in that moment of time he still was. But they were basically calling her messy because it's like, because I don't know if you've seen it in the blogs, but if you watch the Shade Room, or if you see the Neighborhood Talk, you've seen that, you might have seen the video of Sarah and Ray J fooling around while he's got a wife and 2 kids. And Seven's like, I can't sing, I can't dance, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm like, thank you, Seven, because like, that's stupid. But Natalie then brings up the therapist thing. They're gonna get a therapist in to discuss their issues. And that sets Sarah off again, and she's in her confessional talking about something. Well, she sat on the phone and talked to Natalie about these ideas, and these ideas were hers, and if y'all want to pass them off as if they're yours, then so be it. Why is it that big of a deal? And then if it was that big of a deal, why didn't you say something when you were sitting in that meeting? Don't say it in the confessional. But she's mad. It's like she's trying her hardest to emphasize that she's an executive producer without the executive producer role. Like, she's the one doing everything. Like, Sarah, why does it matter? Why does it matter? So this scene we get, oh, wow, it was going somewhere with me. It was going somewhere with me. So they start talking about with therapist thing, that kind of opened up the doors for a couple of the girls to start talking about something. And Sydney's the first one. Sydney starts talking, and as she's talking, I'm literally taking in what she's saying. Because she's talking about her struggles as being a trans person. And she was saying, and I don't want to say that it's not true, but it's just, I guess the way Sydney was trying to, she wasn't expressing herself clearly and concisely as I would have liked to hear it. Because it was like she was kind of hard getting her words out, but maybe she was nervous. So I'm going to chop it up to that. But she was talking about how she almost lost her life, apparently, because she said that she had tricked the dude, basically having him thinking that she was a woman when she was actually still a man in the moment. She's saying he grabbed her wrist and stuff, and she didn't really, that's the thing, she didn't really disclose too much in terms of where she's coming from losing her life. I guess he's about to beat her ass or something, I don't know. But she started to get emotional, which I can't tell you if it was a real emotion or not, because she put her hands in her face, and I didn't see her crying, but I'm going to let her have that moment. I'm going to say that that moment was genuine, because it did feel genuine. In the moment, I was definitely listening to what she was saying and taking it in, because, I mean, that's a different experience. I'm not a trans person, so I don't know what that's like, but just to hear it, it's very interesting, and I hope they touch more on that, because that needs to be brought into the forefront, especially in today's society. A lot of things like this need to be talked about, because a lot of people are dealing with stuff like that. So then that opens the door for Christina as well. She starts talking about how she lost her mother to addiction 3 years ago. And then that, with her basically talking about that, I guess that was a come to Jesus moment for her when her mom passed away, because she had a tumor removed, but she was prescribed Percocets to deal with it, and she got addicted to Percocets. So she started talking about it. She's getting really emotional. And Sarah is getting emotional. And me, like the rest of them girls there, thought that Sarah was getting emotional for some reason that might have been triggered due to Christina talking, or both Christina and Sydney talking. Sarah is sitting there crying her eyes out, and they're asking her to tell them what the issue is and why she's crying. Like, Vince, say what you gotta say. This woman, because that's what she is, she's a grown woman, is crying because she feels like she feels like she's never getting to speak. She never gets to talk about her issues. She never gets to talk. Every time she tries to talk and pitch ideas, she never... What? Like, how do you turn something like that into something like this? It's like she always turns something into having pity for Sarah. Like, Sarah, like, you just ruined a moment. And like Janelle said, and I'm about to put the clip right in here.
At that moment, I am perplexed, because it's like, girl, read the fucking room. Like, everyone is like talking about real life issues.
You literally just ruined the moment. Read the mother room, dude. Like, what? Natalie is basically saying the same thing. Like, why are you, like, we're not in a relationship, Sarah. Like, we're not girlfriends. Like, we're just friends. We're close friends. So why are you so upset about me telling you to be quiet? Like, but they're all on the same page. Everybody in that room was looking at Sarah like she's crazy. But they get on the topic of Sarah's dog passing away, and Natalie was there for Sarah, and Sarah's claiming like when Natalie gets friends with other people, she's basically chopped liver at that point, like she no longer exists. But you keep running back to Natalie. If you know that's what Natalie does, why do you still keep coming back? Because you want Natalie's approval that bad. But it's like, how do you feel bad for somebody if you keep running back to somebody that you clearly think is toxic and has toxic traits for you? But I mean, that's just some immature shit for me. Like, if somebody's being a friend, you can't have more than one friend. Like, she got to put all her attention to you? No. But they started talking about how Sydney had a cat and the cat died, and Sydney saying like that cat was like her child, and her being trans, she's saying that she can never have kids. And all the girls are saying like, yeah, you can. And it's like, yeah, you can have kids. You can't naturally produce a child, obviously, but you can definitely adopt. You can have a surrogate and have somebody carry your child. Like, there's definite ways that you can have a child and bring a child into this world and raise that child, and that child will be yours. And that's kind of where they were all getting on that topic, and that's when Seven was talking about how she feels the most beautiful when she's pregnant. And she was beautiful pregnant. If you look through her Instagram, Seven's just beautiful, period. But she said she felt the most beautiful, period, and she would be pregnant all the time. She said if she had a stable, if she was in a relationship, if her relationship with Taliban was strong and they was married, she would be pregnant right now. She said she would have a bunch of kids. But like she said, if she wasn't in a solid relationship, she wasn't gonna have no kids. She don't want to be nobody's baby mama, which I'm proud to hear that she's that way. Because that makes her look even more wife-like. Like, nobody wants to be somebody's baby mama. Nobody wants to be somebody's baby daddy. Because I damn sure don't want to be just somebody's baby daddy. That's why I ain't got no kids right now. Because I want kids. I want kids really, really bad. But I haven't found a woman that I want to have kids with yet. But when I do, I want her to be my wife. And I want to have a family. Because I have a family. Like, my family, my mom and my dad, they're together. And me and my sister, we literally have lived with our parents as a unit, like the four of us, and they're still together now. Me and my sister are on our own, but enough about me. Let's talk about the show. But yeah, they was talking about how they all would like Seven to be their surrogate and yada, yada, yada. Just talking about all that stuff. So they wrap up the meeting talking about they're going to bring in a couple previous bad girls. Kat Washington, Kat from season 5, the one I said on episode 1 or 2, my recap, that I wanted to be on this show. I'm very glad that they're talking about bringing her on to basically help these girls start their businesses. Because if you don't know, Kat has numerous businesses. She's got numerous businesses that are still alive and well and doing good for her. And Natalie mentions Megan James. Megan James from, I think, season 9. And she was on Basketball Wives as well. Megan is infamous for beating up 2 girls at one time. And Megan does not like Natalie, and Natalie does not like Megan. But Natalie, this is where I respect Natalie even more. Natalie says, like, we don't see eye to eye, but I respect the fact that she's about her business, and she can come here and bring it too. And they come to that point to the, like, yeah, we're going to do this. But Judy was speaking facts. Judy was like, they just throwing out people's names, just to be throwing people's names out, just like they threw this cast out and threw Sydney on the cast. I'm like, Judy, just speak them facts. Judy always speaking facts. Judy's not with it. But they're about to go out to the club. I'm pretty sure it's about to be a pointless scene. This episode is, in a way, kind of pointless, but we're kind of going somewhere to see where this is going to go. Because the first 3 episodes was just a bunch of nothing, just fighting for no reason. And then we're probably on day 3 or 4 still, like in their filming schedule. It's like, how many episodes do we have? We got a little lit towards the end. So they went to the club. They was having a good time. They had fun in the club. They get back to the van to go back home. And who's in there doing the most? Like, they couldn't have had a peaceful night. Sydney is trying her best to put on for the cameras. And it's funny because she's sitting there picking with Judy again. Judy is literally just trying to turn the light off. And she won't even let her do that. And Judy's like, you're doing too much, dude. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, I'm not dealing with this right now. Leave me the fuck alone. Christina's telling her too, like, chill, dude. Like, chill. Like, we just had a good night. Let it go. She's sitting there, and Sydney's sitting here saying, you can see that she's looking at the camera, and then she's overly inflecting her voice. She's trying to sound hard. Y'all need to shut the fuck up, and da-da-da-da-da. Just doing all this extra stuff, trying to look a certain way on camera. And she's getting loud with all the girls. She's getting loud with Tanisha, and she called Tanisha a bitch, and Tanisha's like, who you calling a bitch? And Sydney's kind of like, at first she didn't know if she wanted to say, I'm talking to you or not. But she said, maybe. And then she goes, yeah, maybe I am talking to you. And then the producer in the front seat, who is a dude, is now checking Sydney like, if you gonna be a lady, act like a lady. If you gonna act like a nigga, we gonna get down like a nigga. I'll beat your ass like a nigga. And he said he a street nigga. You gonna respect the ladies in this house. And I agree with him. You respect the women. You doing too much. Like, they just had a decent night, and here you go trying to be a bad girl, trying to do what you need to do to get that bad girl title that these girls I wouldn't even say they earned it, but they had it. Now at the end, Tanisha was pissed off. She's threatening her like, I'll send your ass home. And we're into the cliffhanger, so now we're gonna watch the trailer. Like I told y'all, we're gonna watch the trailer together, I guess, from here on out. So let's see what next week has in store for us.
I'm trying to go eat, and next thing you know, Sydney and Tanisha get into it. Tanisha's like, I'm gonna kick you off the show, I'm gonna do this and that. Sydney saying she ain't going nowhere.
Cause I ain't coming to you. I always took up for you, and you're there disrespecting me. Y'all fucking coming at me too sideways. I'm not feeling that shit.
Here we go.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Let Terry turn that shit the fuck off.
No, Terry, don't turn nothing off.
Are you an EP? Then shut the fuck up.
Ooh.
So you took money essentially out of our mouth. How? With the crap you did last night.
You guys, we're gonna do a house meeting. Everybody.
Ooh, Seven's in them clothes.
You've been fucking with me ever since I got here.
Seven
I'm
about
glad
to
to get your ass.
Seven about to beat her ass because I recognize them outfits. Ooh, Seven about to get down. Bye, Sarah.
I'm sick and tired of people just like talking so much shit.
You have an issue with me?
I have a problem with black actors.
No, I'm not an actress, baby. This is all real. We all gay, baby. You wanted your body to look like mine.
Yeah, well, you ain't been in a fight like that, bitch. I'll slap the shit out of you.
I know she ain't talking about Seven. You pulling up her hair. Why did I just get mad? Seven, I look at Seven. Seven's like family. If you watch Seven's YouTube videos, you feel like you know her. So yeah, I just got hot. Like Seven's gonna up. They just showed the clips of her pulling Seven's hair, but we all know that Seven was pop, 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 and I'm gonna put them clips in there too so you can see them. And she gonna call Seven a punk ass bitch? Okay, yeah, Sarah, you done tried it today. But y'all, man, that's the end of this episode. We do have something to look forward to next week. Good. Janelle, what she said about the acting, yeah, facts. And we're about to see. But again, I want y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and get the interactions going. I told y'all I wanted to get 200 subscribers by the end of June. We slowly but surely ticking up. I think we can do it. Go ahead and just like, comment, share, subscribe, turn the post notifications on because I have a video dropping this Wednesday at 7 p.m. I did a mukbang with one of my friends. And it's funny, we was talking having a story time. That's dropping Wednesday. So like I said, turn all that stuff on, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and I will see y'all next week.